Hello, 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 and welcome to the Journey with Janey podcast. I am your host, Jane Anderson, and I am welcoming you all back to season 4, episode 10. The answers are all within. Now, over the last couple of months, we've talked about new beginnings. The whole idea of season 4 was new beginnings, and I've talked a lot about growth, confidence, nature, trusting in ourselves, and learning to move through life one step at a time. Because that's what we do. One step at a time. That one step. Slow, simple step. One step at a time. No rushing, no big leaps, just one step at a time. I've spoken about seasons. I've spoken about the seeds we plant that grow at some point. They grow beneath the surface before they bloom. And that led on to speaking about learning from the nature that's around us. There's a bit of sunshine coming in through the window, but it is cold and windy here. And recognising that we all grow in our own time. There's no one size fits all. Some people may be way over here, some people may be way over here, and we are exactly where we need to be. And today I thought we could reflect on all those conversations, and throughout this month of June, as we come to the end of quarter 2 of the year, to the halfway point of the year, we come towards that halfway point at the end of June. There's 6 months, we're into 2026. And one thought that I kept thinking about as I was wondering what to say to you all today is how often do we look everywhere else for answers before we look within ourselves? And hands up, I'm as bad at this as I'm sure you are. And it got me wondering, what do we do? Where do we go to look for the answers? We ask Google, we ask social media, we ask friends and family, we ask experts. And then I was sat thinking, when was the last time that you actually sat quietly with yourself and asked, what do I think? Not what Google thinks, not what social media thinks, not what family and friends think, but what do you think? So today is a little bit different here on the podcast. And I want to offer you a pause, permission to stop. I know a lot of you listen to this while you're driving, when you're at the gym, that kind of thing, but I want you to use today's podcast as a moment to reflect, a chance to listen to your own wisdom, your own inner self. Not Google, not your neighbour, not your friend, not even me, just you. So obviously I don't want you to stop and pause if you're driving or if it's not safe to do so, because you can listen to the questions and maybe think about those while you're driving, but what I really want you to do is sit for 10 minutes, take some deep breaths before you start, grab a notebook, and I'm going to read some questions out to you. And always remember, there's no right answers. There is no pass or fail. It's just you being curious about you. So no phone, no Google, no overthinking, just you sat with these questions. And what I will say is I'm going to read them all out very slowly. They'll be in the show notes afterwards, but there'll be one or two questions that ping out to you, if that makes sense. The ones that'll stand out, and you'll remember those, and those are the ones I want you to sit with, make notes, and yeah, so be curious. So I'm going to read out the questions. There's quite a few because I wanted to make it kind of plenty for you to chew over, if that makes sense, but also make you actually think. The first few questions might just spark your imagination to actually lead into how the other questions come about. So we'll start with, what do I already know to be true? What am I pretending not to know? What keeps coming back into my thoughts? What's that little whisper that keeps coming back into your thoughts? What decision have I already made in my heart, but keep looking for permission to make? What's your heart telling you, but you haven't decided yet that you need to do it? Where in my life am I forcing something? What would I do if I trusted myself completely? What feels light right now? And ultimately, what feels heavy? What am I being invited to let go of? What is life trying to teach me in this season? And think about, what season of your life are you actually in? I've reflected quite a lot on this past couple of weeks. I'm not going to give you any clues. We can talk about this next. I'll talk about it next week, because I'm going to actually sit and do this exercise as well. So just let those questions land. Like I said, they'll be in the show notes. And think about nature and what we've been talking about over the last few weeks. We've mentioned that nothing blooms all at once. You know, the daisies and the buttercups are growing at the minute. The roses still haven't bloomed here in Northumberland. Nothing grows at the same speed. And remember that the trees don't compare themselves. You know, the big tree outside my kitchen window still hasn't got leaves growing on it. But the rest of the trees, the leaves are blowing in the wind this morning. And if you think about the ocean, the tide doesn't wonder if it's coming in at the right time. Nature just trusts. And perhaps we can too. So there's a couple more questions I'm going to add on the end, because it's something that's coming through. And I did mention about what season are you in right now. I'd love to know if that's something you can relate to. What is growing beneath the surface for you that nobody else can see? What needs more sunshine in your life? What needs more patience? What am I trying to bloom before it's ready? What are you forcing? Which was something we mentioned earlier. And the one I'm going to leave you with, what do I already know to be true, but keep looking outside myself to confirm? And that's the one that I really want you to sit with. It's a one that I've sat with a lot. It's almost like we ask for validation when we actually know where we're going and what we need to be doing. Because the answers aren't actually out there. The answers you're searching for are found in the quiet, and they're all waiting within you for you to recognise that. So sit with those today, and remember, you already know more than you think you do. So enjoy, and I'm actually going to add on 10 minutes of Bermuda sea sounds after what I've just recorded, the questions and things for you, so that you can slow down, reflect, listen within, and learn and lean into nature. Bring those nature pictures into your head. So I'll leave you now with the sound of the sea from Bermuda. Remember, don't try this if you're driving. Don't want anybody having any accidents. So no distractions, no scrolling, no Google, no need to rush to find an answer, because it might actually come through while you're shopping, in the bread aisle, trying to work out which bread you're going to take home. Something else might just drop into your thoughts. So sit with the question that spoke to you today, the one that resonated with you the most, and see what comes through, see what arises, and trust whatever comes. And if nothing comes, trust that too. Because like I said, it might happen in a few days' time when you least expect it. So from me to you, I'm going to let the waves roll. Take care, and I'll see you next week.